In the heart of ancient Greece, a man named Zeno was once shipwrecked. He lost everything he had with him, his possessions, his crew, and his sense of security. But instead of succumbing to despair, something unusual happened. Amidst the ruins and wreckage, Zeno discovered a book about Socrates that shifted his perspective forever. As he absorbed the wisdom from those ancient pages, he found solace in an unexpected place, within himself. What if I told you that transformational power is not just reserved for ancient philosophers? It's right there within your grasp too. You see, like Zeno finding strength amidst chaos, we too often find ourselves shipwrecked by our own emotions, none more so than anger. Picture this, a morning where every little thing seems to go wrong. The coffee spills on your new shirt. There's unexpected traffic making you late for an important meeting. Your boss assigns you additional work when you're already overwhelmed, the list goes on. And before you know it, you're boiling over with fury turned towards people around you or inwardly towards yourself. But what if I told you that anger isn't necessarily a bad thing? Yes, anger can be destructive, but only when we let it control us rather than us controlling it. Just imagine harnessing its energy and channeling it into something productive. How empowering would that be? This brings us back to our friend Zeno, who eventually went on to establish Stoicism, an invaluable philosophy teaching us how to transform emotional turmoil into personal power, providing tools not just for surviving life's storms, but thriving through them. Now imagine if we could apply this same Stoic formula to master our most explosive emotion, anger, molding that raw energy into fuel for constructive action instead of destructive reactions? Sounds revolutionary, doesn't it? Well, here's the good news. This isn't some hypothetical scenario. It's a reality that you can shape for yourself. This isn't just about learning to control anger. It's about understanding the triggers, recognizing the patterns, and using those insights to transform your emotional reactions. To do this, we must first understand what anger really is. You see, contrary to popular belief, anger isn't inherently bad. It is a natural human emotion, an alert system of sorts designed to protect us from threat or harm. The problem arises when that alert system goes into overdrive and starts triggering at inappropriate times, leading us to react rather than respond. Anger is like fire. Contained and controlled, it can be used for warmth and cooking food. Uncontrolled, it burns everything in its path, leaving devastation behind. Just as fire needs oxygen to burn, our anger too relies on certain elements. Hurt pride, feeling invalidated or disrespected, fear of losing control or being vulnerable. But once we identify these elements, these oxygen sources feeding our rage, we gain the upper hand. We start seeing patterns in situations that trigger our fury, how they interact with our unique sensitivities and past experiences. From here begins the journey of transformation, of converting destructive flames into a powerful engine driving us forward towards resolution. Once we understand what fuels our anger, we can start redirecting that energy towards seeking solutions instead of perpetuating problems. And herein lies the essence of turning your anger into power. When you stop reacting out of instinctive fury and start responding with calculated composure. When you cease seeing red through rage-tinted glasses and begin viewing challenges as opportunities for growth. When you discard chaos for clarity, that's when you truly master your emotions. Just as Zeno found strength in a shipwrecked state by embracing Stoicism, by accepting things he couldn't change while focusing on what he could influence. Similarly, we too can find empowerment amidst emotional turmoil by applying this same Stoic formula to our anger. So next time you find yourself on the brink of an emotional outburst, remember this. Anger is not your enemy. It's a hidden ally waiting to be understood and harnessed. In that moment, when you feel the heat of rage rising within you, but choose instead to channel it into purposeful action, that's when you truly turn your anger into power. That's when you step onto the path of emotional mastery. And what a transformative journey awaits as we delve deeper into this intriguing world, where ancient wisdom meets modern insight. Trust me, by the time we're through, your understanding and perception of anger will have changed dramatically. You'll have learned how to take one of humanity's most volatile emotions and transform it into a driving force for positive change in your life. Remember, Zeno found strength in his adversity through Stoicism. Likewise, let us find power amidst our fury by mastering our emotions with the Stoic formula. You've been there, haven't you? The relentless pounding of your heart, the burning heat flooding your veins, that all-encompassing sense of injustice, anger. It's one of our most primal emotions, and undoubtedly one of the most potent. But what if I told you that this fiery sensation could be turned into a driving force for positive change? A powerful weapon harnessed by the ancient Stoics. Let's start with Zeno, a merchant who lost everything when his ship sank. Instead of succumbing to despair and anger, he founded Stoicism, a philosophy that helped him take control over his emotions and turn his life around. Just like Zeno, we can transform our anger into power using the Stoic formula. Now picture this. You're stuck in traffic after an exhausting day at work. Your car is stationary as far as the eye can see, and the clock mercilessly ticks away minutes you'd rather spend at home relaxing. Frustration starts building up within you until it morphs into full-blown anger. But what if instead of letting that fury control us, we took a page out from Zeno's book? We pause and acknowledge our feeling without judgment. I'm feeling angry right now. This is not about suppressing or ignoring anger. It's about recognizing its presence without letting it consume us. This simple act detaches us from our emotion just enough to observe how it affects us without becoming drowned in its current. The rising heart rate, the clenching fists. Sounds familiar? By doing this, we are not only more aware but also more in control. Next comes understanding why we're angry. Identifying those triggers so they don't catch us off guard next time. Maybe it was being stuck in traffic after a long day at work, or perhaps because someone said something offensive online. Whatever it may be, pinpointing these triggers helps gain perspective on them. Ask yourself, what about this situation is causing me to feel angry? By addressing the root cause, we can defuse the bomb before it explodes. It might not be easy at first, but with practice, it becomes a reflex. Once we've acknowledged our anger and understood its cause comes the most powerful step, redirecting that energy towards something more constructive. Think of your fury as a raw, untamed force, like fire. Leave it uncontrolled and it will burn everything in its path. Harness it properly, and you can power an entire city. Imagine using that negative energy to fuel positive actions, tackling a challenging project at work, or standing up against injustices you see in the world around you. Maybe even channeling that pent-up emotion into running an extra mile or two. The key lies in not letting anger control us, but instead controlling anger. Transforming what could potentially be destructive into something empowering. That is the Stoic formula for mastering emotions. And remember, Stoicism isn't about being devoid of feelings or repressing them. Rather, it's about understanding our emotions and learning to respond rather than react. Every outburst avoided, every calm response given despite provocation, each one is a victory over anger. So next time when traffic grinds to a halt or someone tests your patience online, remember Zeno. Remember how he turned his adversity into strength through Stoicism. And know that you too have this power within you. In this journey of emotional mastery, there will be times when anger gets the best of us. But fear not, for each stumble on this path brings us closer to understanding ourselves and mastering our emotions better. It's all part of turning your fury into power, making anger your ally instead of your enemy. The road may seem long now, but remember, every mighty oak tree was once just an acorn that held its ground. And so shall we. So, let's continue our journey. Let's delve deeper into the Stoic formula that will help you mold your anger into a power that you can control. Remember this, anger is not your enemy. It's an untamed ally waiting to be harnessed. Imagine you're driving home from a long day at work and someone cuts you off in traffic. It's been a stressful day already, and now, this incident strikes the last nerve. Your mind fills with rage and it screams for retribution. A honking horn, a shouted insult, something to release the pressure building inside of you. This is where we begin our lesson today. The first step in transforming anger into power is understanding its roots. What triggers anger within us? In our example above, it was injustice, the unfairness of being cut off, that sparked your anger. But look closer and ask yourself, was it really just about being cut off? Or was there more? Perhaps fatigue from a long day or the accumulated stress pushing you towards the edge. In such situations, Stoicism advises us to focus not on external factors, but on our internal reactions. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "People are disturbed not by things but by their view of things." So if we change how we see these events, if instead of seeing them as personal affronts, we view them simply as actions without any intention directed at us, we start regaining control over our emotions. Now imagine again, you're still behind the wheel, still cut off. But this time, instead of lashing out in anger, you take a deep breath and tell yourself, it's nothing personal. You feel your heart rate slow down. Your grip loosens around the steering wheel. You're beginning to transform that raw energy of anger into something calmer, something more powerful. Next comes practicing amor fati, a Latin phrase used by Stoics which translates to love of fates. This means accepting and loving everything that happens, including the things that provoke our anger. Now, this doesn't mean you become a doormat for others, or stop standing up for yourself. It's about seeing every situation, good or bad, as an opportunity to learn and grow. So when someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of getting angry, think, what can I learn from this? Perhaps it's a lesson in patience or an opportunity to practice your breathing exercises. The final step is learning how to channel your anger towards something positive. Remember Marcus Aurelius, who said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Instead of honking your horn or shouting at the driver who cut you off, why not channel that energy into something beneficial? You could focus on improving your defensive driving skills, for instance. So there you have it, the Stoic formula for transforming anger into power. Understand what triggers your anger. Change how you view these events. Love every fate that befalls you, and finally channel your energy into something positive. This isn't easy. It'll take time and effort. But remember, all great transformations do. Just as the mighty oak tree was once a humble acorn holding its ground against all odds, so too are we in our quest to master our emotions. Remember, my friend, anger isn't meant to consume us, nor should we suppress it. It's simply an emotion waiting to be understood and harnessed correctly. So let's welcome it next time with open arms. Let's sit with it patiently until we've learned what we need from it, and then let's use its strength to propel ourselves forward with grace and determination. No longer will we be slaves to our anger, but masters of it. And through this mastery, we shall find more than just control over one emotion. We shall find wisdom, growth, and ultimately, our power. The world around you might seem like a chaotic orchestra, each note a manifestation of anger. It could be the blaring horn of the car behind you, or the bitter words exchanged between colleagues. Even within, it's that pulsating feeling of wrath when someone overtakes your rightful spot in the queue. Anger is everywhere, and it's easy to be swept up in its current. Yet imagine this. What if we could harness these moments? What if we could take this raw energy, an emotional lightning bolt, and channel it into something constructive rather than destructive? This isn't just philosophy. It's physics, transforming one form of energy into another. Think about Michael Jordan. He was cut from his high school basketball team because he wasn't good enough. Instead of wallowing in self-pity or rage against those who didn't believe in him, Jordan used his anger as fuel. He worked harder than anyone else, pushing himself to limits others wouldn't dare, to become arguably the greatest basketball player ever. Or consider Steve Jobs, who was fired from Apple, the very company he helped build. From a board he appointed himself, the humiliation and anger might have crushed others, but not Jobs. He channeled his emotions into creating Next and Pixar, ventures which would eventually lead him back to Apple and transform it into the tech titan we know today. Both Jordan and Jobs understood an essential lesson. Anger can either consume us or propel us forward. It all depends on how we choose to react. But let's bring this closer home with a more personal example. Imagine you just had an argument with your spouse, the kind that leaves a sting that lingers longer than usual. You can choose to let your anger fester, filling your mind with thoughts of retaliation and resentment. Or you can use this moment as an opportunity for growth. How? Start by taking a step back from your emotions. Not suppressing them, but observing them without judgment. This is the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, distinguishing between what we can control, our reactions, and what we cannot, external events. Next, ask yourself why you're angry. Is it because you felt unheard or disrespected? Then instead of focusing on your spouse's wrongs, focus on communicating these feelings in a calm and constructive manner. If they've truly wronged you, your composed demeanor will likely make them more receptive to your words than any display of anger ever could. But if upon reflection, you realize your anger stemmed from impatience or unrealistic expectations, then this moment has given you an invaluable insight into areas within yourself that need nurturing. You might question the feasibility of such emotional alchemy, especially when emotions are running high. And indeed, it isn't easy. It takes self-awareness and practice, an ongoing journey rather than a destination. Yet the rewards are worth it. As much as water shapes its course according to the nature of the ground over which it flows, so too do our emotions shape us, for better or worse. By mastering our anger, we not only gain control over one emotion, but also develop wisdom to handle other negative emotions like fear or jealousy, and ultimately unleash our power. To wrap up, remember Michael Jordan and Steve Jobs. They didn't just overcome their setbacks. They turned them into stepping stones towards greatness, all by harnessing their anger instead of being enslaved by it. So next time life throws a curveball at you, be it a blaring horn or an argument with your loved ones, embrace that surge of anger, then breathe, reflect and channel this energy into forging a stronger version of yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's not about never getting angry, but making anger work for you. That's true power. That's true mastery. And now, we move forward on this enlightening journey of self-discovery. Let's delve into the depths of our emotions and unearth the immense power that lies dormant within us. Imagine this. You're stuck in a traffic jam, late for an important meeting. The honking cars around are like constant reminders of your predicament, each blare further fueling your frustration. You clench the steering wheel tighter, your knuckles turning white with rage. Stop now. Take a deep breath. Picture yourself as an ancient Stoic philosopher in the same situation. What would you do differently? Well, instead of letting anger consume you, you would accept that some things, like traffic, are beyond your control. But what about those things within your control? Your thoughts and reactions to situations are entirely up to you. Remember this, every time you let anger win, it takes away a piece of your freedom. The freedom to choose how you react to life's adversities. And surely, no one wants their freedom compromised by such a volatile emotion. Now consider another scenario. You find out that someone has been spreading false rumors about you at work. Your first instinct might be fury, or perhaps revenge, but think again, what benefit does anger bring here? None at all. It just clouds judgment and hinders rational thinking. Instead, turn towards Stoicism once again, an ancient philosophy grounded in logic and reason over uncontrolled emotions. Use this opportunity for introspection. What is it about these rumors that angers you? Is it fear of losing respect among peers or concern over potential career impacts? By identifying these underlying issues, we can handle them directly rather than wasting energy lashing out in blind rage. This way, not only do we maintain our cool, but also demonstrate strength and maturity, qualities highly valued anywhere. I want to share another real-life application, a story I came across recently involving none other than Theodore Roosevelt himself. Did you know that this former president of the United States was a proponent of Stoicism? He once said, "Do what you can, with what you have, where you are." One hot summer day in 1902, a coal strike threatened to leave millions without heat for the coming winter. As tensions rose between miners and owners, Roosevelt's patience wore thin. But instead of acting on anger, he channeled it. He used his frustration to fuel his determination and brokered an agreement between miners and owners, ending the strike. His ability to harness anger into action saved countless lives from enduring a harsh winter without heat. Just like Roosevelt, we all possess this power within us. The power to turn emotions into actions that yield positive results rather than destructive ones. And this doesn't just apply to anger. It applies to any emotion. Fear can become courage. Sadness can morph into empathy. Frustration can transform into determination. So as we wrap up part 4 of our journey together, remember this: emotions are not bad or good. They simply are. It is our reaction to them that determines their value in our lives. The next time you feel anger bubbling up within you, just breathe deeply, ask yourself, is there something I need or want that's at risk here? Identify your triggers and understand your emotional responses better. Remember, you have complete control over how you react. So use it wisely, harness the energy of your emotions, and channel them towards constructive actions, because mastering your emotions is not about suppressing them. It's about understanding them, and using them as tools for personal growth and achievement. Turn your anger into power, use it as fuel instead of letting it consume you. Let the fire inside propel you forward, not burn down everything around. This is true strength. This is true mastery. And remember, every step in this journey brings us closer to becoming stronger versions of ourselves. A testament that indeed, the Stoic formula to master your emotions is within reach for all of us. So, here we are, at the end of this empowering expedition. A journey that led us through the dense forest of our emotions, across the tumultuous river of anger, and towards the mountain peak of self-mastery. We have traversed the landscape of Stoicism together, and uncovered its profound secrets. It's time now to gather those insights to construct a resilient fortress around your mind. Let's reflect a little. You've witnessed firsthand how uncontrolled anger can be a destructive force in your life, shattering relationships, obstructing progress, and clouding judgment. But you've also learned that, like every other emotion, anger too is not inherently evil or good. It simply is a raw human response to perceived threats or injustices. But by embracing the wisdom of Stoicism, you've discovered an extraordinary truth: that you possess within yourself an immense power, the power to transform this raging storm into a potent driving force for growth and change. Remember Marcus Aurelius's wise words: you have power over your mind, not outside events. This is where it all begins, acknowledging that while external circumstances may trigger anger within us, they do not control us unless we permit them to do so. The authority over your reactions rests solely with you. The Stoic formula encourages us to take a step back when confronted by situations provoking intense emotions, to pause rather than react impulsively, to examine our thoughts before they morph into actions. In that brief interlude lies great strength. The strength to decide whether your response will fan destructive flames or fuel constructive solutions. In transforming your perspective on anger from an enemy to an ally, your first victory lies there. You're no longer running from it or suppressing it. Instead, you are harnessing its energy as an instrument for personal growth and societal change. It's important, though, not just to recognize but also appreciate our capacity for patience, the buffer between irritation and rage. And therein lies another formidable tool in your arsenal. By cultivating patience, by allowing it to flourish in the gardens of our mind, we're creating a robust defense mechanism against the onslaughts of anger. But Stoicism doesn't merely advocate for suppression or management of anger. It goes a step further. It encourages us to transmute this emotion into something beneficial. It's like converting raw ore into precious metal, alchemy of the soul, if you will. This alchemy begins with empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. When we perceive an act causing us outrage through the lens of empathy, we begin to see beyond our immediate reaction, beyond the offense itself, to consider possible reasons behind such actions. It might not justify their behavior, but understanding that they too are human, prone to errors and weaknesses just like us, can help dilute intense emotions, and can even lead us towards forgiveness. An act releasing not just them, but also freeing ourselves from chains binding us to resentment and bitterness. You have within you now this extraordinary formula, the Stoic blueprint for mastering your emotions, a method turning your anger into power. But remember, as with any potent tool, it requires practice for mastery. The path may be arduous at times. There may be moments when old habits creep back in, when anger seems overpowering, but don't lose heart. Each time you choose to pause instead of react impulsively, each time you decide to comprehend rather than condemn, you're becoming stronger, more resilient. And it's these small victories that pile up over time, leading towards profound transformation. So keep pushing forward, keep practicing, with every sunrise presenting new opportunities for growth and learning. You've embarked on a journey that doesn't promise instant results, but one yielding invaluable rewards over time. A peaceful mind, harmonious relationships, improved self-esteem, and above all, the ability to convert every challenge encountered into an opportunity for growth. And while this journey is deeply personal, it doesn't mean going it alone. Share your experiences, your triumphs and struggles. Let others in on this empowering formula, because everyone stands to gain from mastering their emotions. Remember, the power is always within you. It's not a matter of acquiring it. It's about realizing it's there, waiting to be tapped into. And once you do, you'll see life through a different lens. One where anger isn't an adversary but an ally. One that doesn't intimidate you but inspires you. One that transforms not just how you react, but who you are at the core. So here's to embracing the wisdom of Stoicism, to turning your anger into power, to becoming the master of your emotions. Here's to setting forth on this path, armed with patience and empathy, and emerging as stronger versions of ourselves. A testament that indeed, the Stoics